This right here is my favorite thing ever. In the history of forever. I think about this every day. I think about this all night long. I stay awake, not sleeping, because I'm thinking about this.
It was about 4 in the afternoon. School only ended recently and summer was just beginning. I was in the backyard with my hunting rifle. I made sure to have my special headphones on so my hearing wasn't destroyed by the gun. I had targets set up and shot each one, missing 2 out of the 3. I never really improved since I started practicing last year. Granted, I've slacked on the practice. After 30 minutes of practice, I took my headphones off and listened. The silence was nice. The only real sound was the slight wind. Even that wasn't really loud. I smiled and began walking back inside. My mom and dad were in the room discussing something, probably arguing like they've been doing. I set my rifle in my room, safety on of course, and washed my hands in the bathroom down the hall, eventually going to the kitchen and making myself something to eat. It was rather empty today though. Neither my mom nor my dad bought food often, and so they complained about that too. The worst part about it? They didn't trust me going to get it myself because they believed I'd go to my girlfriend's house. So rarely I'm able to leave the house on my own. Luckily, I was able to make myself a sandwich out of chicken and mayo. As I was eating at the dinner table, I could hear my mom and dad arguing. Wasn't pleasant, of course. I couldn't do anything to stop it. Even when I yelled at them to stop or try to end the arguing, it only seemed to be getting worse. I'm surprised they haven't gotten a divorce yet. Though I love them both, they need to separate for their own good. After gulping down the last bite of a sandwich, I walked back into my room. I opened my book bag and pulled out a disc. Supposedly this disc was supposed to bring all your nightmares or fears into reality. A curse disc. I don't really believe in the paranormal. I've never experienced or believed in such a thing being a reality. It doesn't seem logical or possible, but I decided to give it a try regardless. I grabbed my laptop, sat on my bed, and inserted the disc. I waited till it said the disc was ready. I still heard my parents arguing, even with the door closed. I sighed and saw the video pop up. I clicked play and began to watch what everyone was talking about. Apparently, the longer you watch it, things get worse. Even though I clicked play, it just showed a black screen. I made sure I clicked play, and it was showing it was playing. No noises were heard from it, but something felt off. Static showed on the screen now before going back to black. Then, everything was silent. I didn't hear my parents anymore. Like everything suddenly stopped. Maybe they stopped arguing for once and decided to watch TV. But that's the thing. I would still hear that too. I was about to get off the bed, till I heard walking. Was it them? I listened carefully. The steps got louder. It eventually reached my door and stopped. After a few minutes, it was only silence that could be heard. Then walking happened again, but it was in my room. I then felt very confused and concerned. The footsteps then continued to get closer to my bed, and my heart began racing. What the hell was going on? It then got to my bed and stopped. I listened once more and my eyes widened. I heard what sounded like breathing against my ear. I couldn't move. I didn't know what to do. Then, out of nowhere, it ran out of my room, stomping with each step. My heart is still racing, and I am still on my bed. Everything stopping again. No sound. And the sounds of running or walking stopped. The screen went into static, and this time it didn't change to black. I then heard what seemed like crawling on the floor. I made sure not to leave the bed, because I couldn't see what the hell it was. It went in all directions, and it got louder and louder. Then it stopped again, only to feel something touching my spine. I quickly jumped off my bed and turned to face the direction it came from. There wasn't anything. I have to be going crazy. There's no way this is real. I rubbed my eyes and saw what seemed like a man in the left corner of my room. I couldn't move because of the horrid noise he was making. It sounded like it couldn't breathe, but also like he was freezing. I swallowed down my throat as I tried to open my door. When touching the doorknob with my fingertips, the man turned. His face sagged on one side, and it looked decayed. You could see the flesh under his rotten skin. I tried opening the door, but it felt stuck. The man behind me stumbled closer and closer towards me, growling and making more horrid noises. I turned back around and he was only a few feet away. I kept trying to open the door, only for him to grab me. I could feel his slimy and skinny hands. I kicked him away. Doing so, the skin of his arms were pulled off, revealing the maggots and other larvae feasting on his flesh. I screamed and grabbed my rifle. I tried pulling the trigger but forgot the safety was on. He then swung at me and my eyes closed. But I didn't feel anything anymore. I opened my eyes and saw he was gone, though my door was now open. I turned off the safety of my rifle and ran out of my room. I heard the screams of my mom coming from her room. I quickly went to her room and burst through the door. Inside, my eyes laid upon a horrifying sight. The man was eating my mom's face. The sound of him chewing on her flesh, crunching upon the bone. I aimed my gun, and the man turned and looked at me. My mom then sat up, revealing her chewed upon face with a smile. "Hi, honey," she greeted. "You here for some fun too?" she asked. They both got out of bed. My mom kept getting closer to me, while the man stood back. "It's okay, honey. Put the gun down. We wouldn't want anyone to get hurt," she said with a smile. I couldn't figure out how any of this was possible. I pointed my gun directly at her, which caused her to stop moving. "It's okay, honey. Just join us," she yelled while spitting out blood and maggots. Before I could think, she lunged at me and I quickly shot her in the stomach. She fell back. She still sat up with a smile. "That's how you do it. Shoot mommy more," she laughed. All I could feel was being horrified. I just shot her. She kept saying, "Shoot her. Shoot her. Shoot her." She wouldn't stop yelling it. Then the man tried to lunge at me, only to shoot his leg, causing him to fall to the floor. He then looked up at me and created more horrid noises. "Go to hell!" I yelled before shooting him in the face and causing him to fall to the floor. I dropped the gun on the floor and heard what sounded like screaming in my ear. I fell to my knees as it was getting louder. "Shut up!" I yelled. I finally stopped and I opened my eyes. I didn't see the man anymore. It was my dad. His legs and head both shot. I looked behind me and saw my mom bleeding out slowly. She couldn't speak anymore. She was surrounded by a pool of blood. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Pure shock filled my mind. I couldn't think anymore. My eyes tearing up and my hands grabbing onto the rifle again. I put the rifle's tip into my mouth and started breathing heavily. Tears flooded my eyes as I was screaming in horror and frustration. So then, I pulled the trigger, hearing the sound of the bullet blow through the back of my head. Then it was just black. All this because of a video.